Falling in Reverse are back with a brand new single called God is a Weapon. I did not realize this song featured Marilyn Manson of all people up until just before I pressed record for this. I was having a quick Google to see if there's any context, and the context I have found is, Marilyn Manson is the other one in this song. It's interesting that he's not branded in the title. I wonder why. I'm going to try and keep my opinions on both of these guys to myself. In truth, I've had a really interesting arc with Roddy Radke specifically, because about a year and a half ago, if you'd asked me about Falling in Reverse, I probably would have made some joke about Roddy Radke being a douchebag, and I would have dismissed it. But then I got suggested All My Life from their most recent album, and it got me hooked, and I ended up obsessing over that album significantly more than anybody could have predicted. I even started sort of like, maybe Ronnie's not that bad, blah, 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 blah. And you know what, I don't think he's the devil. I really don't. I do think he's like kind of an asshole though, but the thing is, I think he probably also will just admit to that. It's fine. Marilyn Manson's a different question, but we won't go into that one too much, or I'm gonna inspire some nasty comments, I am sure. But one thing I will say, regardless of your thoughts on both of the guys, is that the music they produce is pretty good. In fact, Falling in Reverse's album last year was probably one of my favorites. It was in my top 3, I would have said. So I don't know, Marilyn Manson's new stuff, whilst controversial, is still objectively quite good. So anyway, I'm kind of curious from just an objective musical standpoint. Check out all that stuff at the door. I was going to listen to God is a Weapon, and we'll just see how we feel about it, I guess. He cut his hair. I like him with the longer hair. And I tell you what, one thing also we can probably predict based on both of these characters is that the music video is probably going to be at least visually interesting. Okay, it's definitely slower than I was expecting it to be. I sort of heard the word ballad, but I didn't believe it until I heard it. The backing's like, it's an interesting mixture of kind of like hip-hop references mixed in with that kind of like metal vibe, but I don't know, you got to give Ronnie his credit. His voice is extraordinarily diverse. He can hit a lot of different subgenres. Right now, kind of soft and more thoughtful, and someone's already putting a gun in their mouth, so can't wait to see the happy joyride this is going to be. Okay. I actually really like the backing vocals going on here. It's quite subtle, but it's definitely building this quite, I don't know, it kind of feels like he's whispering in your ears, And the kind of black and white aesthetic is quite interesting as well. I quite like the guys with the needles. Yeah, you know what, visually, I'm enjoying this. Ooh, big fat drop. Interesting lyrics. If God is a woman, as God is a woman. It's kind of like, wait, no. Is it saying woman or weapon? Am I being an idiot now? I swear it sounds like he's saying God is a woman, but the song is called God is a Weapon. All right, I'm gonna have to pay really close attention now. There's quite a lot of effects going on in his voice, but I do quite like the again. I say this phrase a lot, but the wall of sound that's coming in with this chorus. It's like it's really boom. Like everything's basically playing one note the entire way through, but the sort of like timbres, the layering going on here is really good, and his vocal performance so far I'm enjoying. It's a clever little breakaway section as well, like the like visual cues with the like clicking finger and the cutting to the black in between there, coming out of this like really, really kind of thick section to go back into what I assume is a lighter verse, maybe even Marilyn's verse at this point. But no, it's an example of good songwriting and well put. The production is very good too. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he's saying God is a weapon. That's interesting. But I don't know if you can hear. There's a couple of like a picky guitar line coming in the background there, which is interesting because it kind of like it definitely feels like it's more inspired of Marilyn Manson's music, which is definitely less hip hop inspired. I quite like that. I'm not gonna lie. And again. There's a reason Marilyn Manson is as popular as he is. His voice is extremely emotive. He's very good at conveying these kind of feelings. It fits the vibe well. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I wouldn't have necessarily put these guys in the same room together, but they complement each other quite well. I love how you can just put some makeup on her nipples and it doesn't matter if she's naked. Who gives a fuck? Oh. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Lyrically, I don't hate this at all. Like this whole if God is, I was right. He was saying woman. If God is a woman, then God is a weapon. It's a lot more thought provoking than quite a lot of musicians' stuff nowadays. That is 100% true. And I don't know, this video is quite striking visually too. I'm finding it difficult to admit, but I'm actually quite enjoying this. Heavy breakdown, nice. Ooh. He does that quite a lot. Ooh, that's a nasty place to pause it on. There's lots of spittle going between mouths there. Lovely. But no, that little dropout section there is very indicative of some of the earlier, well, not earlier, just the Falling in Reverse album that came out this year. That's such an effective tool. Like, it's especially because the sound is so goddamn thick that just that little pull out for the second, it defies expectations. And I'm also wondering whether or not Ronnie is low-key talking about Soraya, because they broke up in between their last release, and I'm wondering whether or not this kind of talk about how, God is a woman, God is a weapon, is sort of like being I wonder if that's referential to that or not. Little jump scare. God, he's a really good singer, isn't he? Like, just like based on the transition he's just done there, like, the last thing he did was a little jump scare, and now he's gone straight up into that. He's very pure when he gets into this higher register. Like, man, you cannot deny the man's talent in that regard, at least. Okay. So now we're getting the chorus, but up an octave with this like very soaring high vocal. The build-up in the song is really great, and now we've got Marilyn's, I'm assuming I pause it just as he's about to back in there with some vocals for the chorus as well, which is interesting because I was curious to see whether or not Marilyn was literally only going to do a verse. It looks like he's going to come in on this last chorus too. It's very Falling in Reverse. There's so much going on by the end of this. There's like layers and layers of harmonies and effects and screaming. And meanwhile, there's goddamn lasers coming down and the woman with no nipples is just looking real scary. I don't know what's going on, but I hate to say it, but I'm really enjoying this. Yeah! At the end. Man, that was quite good. That was, I think that, like, put all previous thoughts aside, that was just objectively really well put together song. I really love the way it built up. It started with this like very sort of understated vocal stuff. It was all quite thoughtful and I don't know, the way it kind of cut in there to get the variations. You have these two verses, but the second one is Marilyn Manson, which makes a surprising amount of difference. He's a very sort of recognizable voice, I think. So kind of jumping in there, and they had some like clever writing subtleties in the background of that track, where you've got the kind of like slightly more Manson-styled guitar lines going through the back of that. The way that they sort of like handle the use of space, like it's a very thick wall of sound through quite a lot of that song. But then the occasional moments where they jump out, and then you get a little vocalization from either Marilyn doing it, or you, or you got Ronnie doing it. Those are my impressions. Feel free to clip those. Was like really, it adds a lot of character to those things. The way that it built up for that last chorus was really good. The little drum section building into it was fantastic. Ronnie flipping up into that high octave for the last thing. I actually don't think I've heard Marilyn Manson singing like that before. I thought he was more of a kind of character singer than that. So I'm curious to see how much. I mean, obviously he was lip syncing, but it's hard to see how much of that he was actually singing. I'd believe if you told me that he was only a little bit, and most of that was just Ronnie overdubbing with himself. Chord sequence wasn't that particularly interesting. In fact, I think it was possibly one or maybe even two chords throughout the entire thing, but that's kind of not the point. The vocal performances were lyrically also somewhat interesting. Visually, as always, I mean, the budgets for those videos are crazy high. I mean, I know that I think a lot of it is helped by like very high budget CGI. Like I've seen some of the making of stuff when it came to like Ronald even, and some of the other stuff from the previous album cycle. And I mean, the sets are really nice and the costumes are well done, but it is done in like a fairly small studio space with like a blue screen on it. But it's extremely well executed. The visual, like, I don't know, the visual concepts coming through that are like strong enough to really, really carry it. Big scary lasers and making out with nippleless ladies. I don't know. It's definitely can't say it's not entertaining, and you definitely can't say it's not interesting. I'm gonna have to listen to this one more. I think it's one of those like separate art from artist type situations. Well, don't get me wrong, I don't hate Ronnie at all. Like I think he's a controversial dude, but like I don't have so much issue with that. Manson, I've mentioned in the past, I've had issues with being able to separate art from artist, but I really like that song. So yeah, I don't know. If my friend is continuing to listen to Kanye, then I can definitely listen to that, I guess. But yeah, no, let me know in the comments how much you really hated my opinion on Marilyn Manson. But also just let me know what you think about the song. This collaboration worked out really, really well. I'm surprised that it taken this long actually for these two to be together, unless I've just missed stuff because I'm a comparatively new fan, or new listener to both, actually. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Follow me on Instagram. That would be delightful. Like, share, subscribe, all of that crazy stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.